today to create art. My name is Joyce Raimondo, and I'm an artist. I'm also an author. I've written 8 books about art, and today we're going to do one of my favorite projects from my book, Imagine That. And we're going to use our imaginations. We're actually going to make recycled robots, and we're going to make these robots out of junk. So before we get started, I want to make sure you have the right supplies. For this project, you're going to need tape, and you might need glue or a glue stick, and a pair of scissors will come in handy. And you can also gather up lots of junk, boxes, old papers, cardboard rolls, any junk you have laying around that you would like to build into your robot, okay? So let's get started. You can watch or you can work along with me. When we do this project, please don't do it exactly my way. This is designed just to give you ideas, and then I want you to do it your way, okay? And I want you to use your imagination. I want to show you one of my favorite robots before we get started. You may have noticed back here, I have some recycled robots. Boys and girls, what does it mean to recycle? When we recycle something, we reuse it. Lots of times you might take some item and instead of throwing it in the trash, you put it in the recycling bin so it could be reused. And of course, that's really good so we don't waste, we keep the planet clean. And artists like to recycle because it can be really, really creative. So I made this robot out of old toys I had laying around. Nobody used them anymore. Some of them were even broken. And I noticed this baby's toy rattle looked a little like legs. Doesn't it look like legs? And these even look like ankle bracelets. And then I used a sand toy for the body. And I noticed one day, how do you like that? This sand rake actually looks like fingers. And I attached that and a shovel for the other arm. Then I needed a head. So I got this ball and I poked a piece of plastic stick, poked it in, and now it actually moves. And then I hot glued on a little game piece for the nose. Because I love this recycling robot because I have it in my kitchen, and this little guy always reminds me and my family and my friends to recycle. When we use a bottle and other items, we reuse and we bring it over to the recycling center. Now, let's get started on your project. I realize you probably don't have old toys laying around that you want to use for your art project. So why don't we use some boxes? I want you to find one box for the body and another box for the head. And what I did, as you can see, instead of using glue, because these are kind of heavy and it might not work with glue, I actually used little pieces of tape and I taped the pieces together. Okay? So get started on that. Now, of course, I need something for the arms. This is where you're going to get creative. I have a box at home, and in my box, I keep all sorts of junk so it doesn't make a big mess. Let's see if I have something in here that I could use for the arms. Actually, I think I see something. How about cardboard rolls? I have a few of those in here. Now, boys and girls, sometimes these cardboard rolls are pretty nice because they're white, and I like that color. But sometimes cardboard rolls are gray and dull. So what I like to do is I like to wrap the cardboard rolls and even the boxes so that they just don't look so boring. So I have all old wrapping paper and scraps, and when I'm ready to make art, I can use the paper to get creative. So this was from last holiday season, and what I'm going to do is I am going to wrap my cardboard roll with the paper. Doesn't that look nice? It's nice and shiny now. And then I'm going to take a little piece of masking tape and tape it together. I could also use glue. I'm wondering, what have you found that you're going to use for your arms? Now, to attach the arms, you could use tape because there's not a lot of room on the rim for glue, so it's just going to fall off. So you can take masking tape, you can use plastic tape, You could even use duct tape, which comes in handy. It's nice and strong. So here we go. I'm going to put one piece of tape here and one here. And then you can attach it to your robot and he or she has an arm. Okay, now for the next one. I'll put that one here. Boys and girls, this is completely make-believe. So if you want your robot to have 4 arms, you can do that too. And you certainly don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. Now for this one and this one, these are going to be the legs. You could put the legs like this, so the robot stands. Or what would happen if I put them like this, so my little guy can sit? Because I like to sometimes play with the robot. And sometimes I like to have the robot sitting next to me in the car or even on the couch when I'm watching TV. It's kind of like we're making our own toy, which is really fun. You don't have to go to the store to buy your toys. Why not make them? See? So there's his leg so he could sit next to me, or she. I haven't decided if my robot is a boy or a girl. That'll come later. Sometimes when you make art, you don't have a plan. This is a make it up as you go along project. So, how is my robot looking here? Looks pretty good. And now, of course, for the face. When you make the face, you're going to need eyes and ears and a nose and a mouth. So those items, you'll use small things. So in this bin, I have a collection of all tiny bits and pieces of junk. And over here, I have some foam pieces. I like using foam because it stands out and it glues really, really easily. So boys and girls, imagination. Guess how many eyes my robot's gonna have? 2? Why not give him 3? This way he can see more. I might even put eyes on the back of his head later so he can see what's going on behind him. See? That's imagination. So here are my eyes. 1, 2, 3. And now, of course, for the ears. Boys and girls, I'm looking around today for junk I could use, and you're not going to believe what I came across. I actually came across these old headphones that are broken. I don't even remember where I got them. So instead of putting ears on the robot, I'm actually going to put these on. So look at this. Now he's actually starting to look like a real robot, and I can pretend that I'm plugging him in. But you'll notice he does still need a mouth. Now guess what? Sometimes you can recycle an item, or you can actually use the tape itself for a mouth. So this is fancy duct tape, and it's got these nice zigzags on it. So I am going to make him a zigzag mouth and tape this on. I like it. It looks a little bit like electricity. What do you think so far? Now, of course, he needs some hair. Boys and girls, I like to use paper for hair. What will you use for your robot's hair? Maybe yarn? Maybe newspaper? Maybe computer paper? Watch how I can cut the paper to make it look like hair. This is tissue paper from an old gift I got. Okay, so I'm cutting it in, but don't go all the way, otherwise it'll fall apart. You cut almost to the edge. And then when I am done, I'm gonna fluff it up a little bit. So watch. See how it starts to look a little like hair. And now I am going to tape it onto the top of my robot's head. This might start looking like a girl with long hair, but maybe we can't really tell for sure. So I'm going to put that right there. And here we have my robot with her pink hair. Now, let's see for some finishing touches. Boys and girls, a robot is not a robot without the controls. So I'm going to put some buttons on my robot, and then I can pretend I'm pressing them when I want the robot to do different things. So for that, I'm going to use more foam. If you are gluing on plastic pieces like bottle caps, you probably are going to need an adult to help you with a hot glue gun, okay? Because those items are heavier and they don't glue great with this ordinary glue stick. So I am now putting on my controls. I wonder what you're going to use for your controls. There's 3 buttons. Now I can imagine when I press this button, my robot cleans the house. When I press that button, my robot talks to me. And when I press this button, my robot does a little dance. Okay. Now, I like to use my plastic bottle for a jetpack. What are you going to use for a jetpack? And I like to fill it up with fuel, because you need fuel for your robot to run. So I like to pretend that these beads are the fuel. See? And then I put the cap very securely, very tightly on there so the beads don't fly off. And of course I'm going to tape this to the back of my robot so he's got a make-believe jetpack. And maybe he can even fly with this jetpack. Let's see how it looks. Here we go. Okay. And he even makes some noise. Boys and girls, you're on your way, and now it's time for you to add the details. You can put a nose, you can put a bracelet. What's this? A Hawaiian lei. I can even put this on my robot if I want to. Maybe I'll dress him up. Maybe he's going on a trip. I'm going to save that for later. Wait a minute. My robot's talking. What was that? I'm sorry. Say it again. Oh, okay. My robot said something to me. He said, tell the children at home to be creative. Use your imagination. Always find stuff at home that you can use to make art. Bye, everybody. Be creative. Use your imagination. Bye.